We've got to do something about gun violence. We got to do something about it.
Do something. Do something. Do something.
We have to do something.
Do something. Do something. Do something. Do something.
Whatever.
We must do something.
Do something. Do something. Do something.
I find it highly ironic that those who shout the loudest to do something in response to another high-profile abuse of gun rights actually do very little, while those they want to accuse of doing nothing actually do more than they're given credit for. Now, in order to understand gun control's complaints, it's helpful to get a basic grasp of the ideology that drives it: progressivism. Now, if you come up to a so-called liberal or progressive or democratic socialist or whatever trendy label left-wingers are calling themselves by today and ask them, what is progressivism? Chances are you'll hear something along the lines of fighting for social justice or whatever inequalities they feel the need to agitate for the day. But whatever the issue, real or perceived, and most of the time it's just perceived, the solution is always the same: government intervention. And this explains the relative lack of imagination that gun control activists have to finding a solution for gun violence. So whatever the organization, whatever the movement, whatever the program, the goal, the method is ultimately the same: getting government to do something. And a website put up by the Chicago Sun-Times illustrates this point quite well. 31 Bullets was so named because someone did an estimate of the ammunition sales performed in this country and determined that it was enough to give every man, woman, and child in this country 31 bullets. And so they attempted to come up with 31 solutions to deal with gun violence. Never mind that the overwhelming majority of that ammunition is probably not fired, much less used to injure or kill another human being. But somehow 31 1/100ths of a bullet just doesn't quite have the same ring. It's not as catchy, not as ominous, even though it is closer to the truth and probably better describes the substance of the website. Basically, every single bullet points to some sort of activity to try to encourage someone in government to intervene. Whether it be directing you to contact elected officials and ask them to do something, or give to an organization that will contact elected officials and ask them to do something, or encourage you to join a email list or a Twitter group or a Facebook page associated with an organization that will encourage you to contact elected officials and ask them to do something, or encourage you to give money to these self-same organizations who will contact elected officials and ask them to do something. Not a whole lot of variation there. Let me tell you that there's nothing inherently wrong with any of this, because they are covered by your First Amendment rights. The problem is this tends to be as far as most gun control advocates will ever go. Personal involvement in the matter tends to be very light, and there's very little in the way of personal investment and personal sacrifice. And it's kind of lazy because they're just agitating for someone else to do something. And after posting their hashtag or their comment or sending their dollars or filling out that ballot, they'll kick back and enjoy a certain sense of self-satisfaction for believing they have done something, while smugly looking down their noses at gun rights advocates whom they believe are doing nothing for gun safety. But is this all that you can do for gun safety? Gun owners will tell you emphatically no. You see, we can and do everything that gun control advocates do. We can and do comment on social media. We can and do contact elected officials. We can and do join and give money to pro-gun organizations. We can and do hold marches, rallies, and demonstrations in support of the Second Amendment. But because we also own guns and are familiar with guns, we have a lot more hands-on options to promote the safe and responsible ownership and operation of guns. Now, every year, the overwhelming majority of us, about 99.7% of us, do not get involved in gun-related accidents, crimes, or death in any given year. So we are the ones who show the way to safe, responsible, and legal gun ownership just by our very examples. Can gun control advocates do that? We are also the ones that save lives and deter crime with our guns, in numbers far greater than lives taken and crimes committed with guns. Can gun control advocates do that? We are also the ones that spend time improving our skills either through simple range time or by taking more specialized classes, all in the interest of being more effective with our guns and thus safer with them. Can gun control advocates do that? And we are the ones who get certified as instructors and range safety officers so that we can impart what it is that we know about the safe and responsible handling of firearms. What's more, we freely donate our time and money to teaching the next generation on how to enjoy and safely and properly exercise their Second Amendment rights. Can gun control advocates do that? So when it comes to gun safety, who really does something? Now, the term gun safety itself infers encouraging the responsible exercise of a right that you have ready access to. Gun control does none of this. Its approach is abstinence only, which does nothing towards educating and training others in the proper exercise of a civil right. Gun rights advocates, on the other hand, do encourage this right with more than just words, more than just money, and more than just trying to get someone else to do it. We handle it ourselves on a daily basis.